Making Magic the Gathering cards for the boys.
How you doing, Kamuk heads? Today, it's been a week since The Boys ended, so I decided to make some Magic Gathering cards for the boys, the cast of The Boys, with like Billy Butcher, Huey, freaking Mother's Milk, and like all the other people, Kimiko, Homelander, all that. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into that. We're just gonna dive right in. All right, so please like, subscribe, and share, and comment what you want me to cover next. Which maybe franchise you want me to make Magic Gathering cards on next. So yeah, the Homelander. This is for 1 generic, 4 red, and a legendary creature human hero, Flying Haste. When the Homelander enters the battlefield, put an indestructible counter on it. Pay X and a red and deal X damage to any target. And look at the top card of each player's library. Activate only on your opponent's turn. I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better, I am better is the flavor text, and the power and toughness is a 3/5. So the reason why he doesn't just have indestructible and enters the battlefield, you gotta put an indestructible counter on him, is because, nothing really gave indestructible, like, throughout the series. And Homelander doesn't really seem indestructible, so I wanted a way for you to, like, be able to kill him, because, like, in the show, they end up killing Homelander by basically removing his powers, removing the indestructibility. So making it a counter makes it like possible, like an indestructible counter rather than like just him being flat out indestructible, makes it possible to kill Homelander. And I thought that would be like an interesting way to build him. So yeah, that's the little lore behind that. The pay X and a red is basically just to represent his heat vision and how he uses it like unexpectedly. That's why it's only on your opponent's turn. Like he kind of just resorts to it like like, especially in season 1, he's just lazy and uses his heat vision. Yeah, but you deal X damage to any target. It should say Homelander deals X damage to any target, but yeah. And then you look at the top card of each player's library. That is just to represent his X-ray vision. His X-ray vision. He can look through walls and stuff. So, I mean, looking at the top card of each player's library isn't too useful in red, I guess. But if you want to throw him in the 99 and do some shenanigans, then yeah, there you go. Or you could always use Sensei's Divining Top. This is for each player's library, so that includes your own. So if you want to mess around with some scry stuff, you could do that if you want. And the haste is obviously supposed to represent his super speed, and the flying, Homelander flies. Who knew? All right. Let's move on to Billy Butcher. Alright, Billy Butcher. 2 generic, 2 black, and a red legendary creature human with menace. When Billy Butcher enters the battlefield, create a Temp V token with tap. Target creature gets a +1/+1 counter and becomes a hero until end of turn. Whenever Billy Butcher attacks, create a 2/1 black Inkling token with flying or destroy target hero. His flavor text reads, fucking diabolical. And his power and toughness is a 5/3, opposite of the Homelanders. So, yeah, there you go. A little dark reflection there. So basically, the idea with this is that it enters the battlefield. You make that Temp V token, and you can either make him a hero, which is fine. That's probably what you do on the first turn he comes out. You turn him into a hero, buff him a little bit. But the next turn, you can make someone else a hero, attack, and destroy that hero. You could target one of your opponent's creature, buff them up a little bit, but it doesn't really matter because you end up destroying it anyway, right? When you attack. Or you could play this like a little bit politically and just make a little deal with your opponent, one of your opponents, and attack somebody and buff up one of their creatures, and it's a fair deal to you, not really very fair to them, because you still have the ability to destroy that creature you just buffed up in a later turn, even though you buffed them up. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is like the Inkling. That's just supposed to represent the his powers in season 4 and 3, where he gets those like venom looking tendrils, and you can just like that's what the Inkling's supposed to represent. So yeah, Temp V is obviously supposed to represent the Temp V he took in season 3. And the Inkling's supposed to represent his weird cancer powers. Alright, up next we have James Stillwell / Stan Edgar. because these characters were combined. Well, in the show, Madeline Stillwell is the head of Vought, but she dies in season 1. So they bring in Stan Edgar, who isn't pretty much irrelevant in the comics, but in the show, Stan Edgar is just supposed to be James Stillwell from the comics. This is a hard thing to explain. Don't even worry about it. Basically, he's the head of Vought. So legendary creature, human villain. He's the biggest villain in the show and the comics. Whenever you cast this or a hero spell, draw a card and create a treasure token. This is just supposed to represent, Vought profiting off of the heroes. Vought always wins, no matter what. The house always wins. We're coming out with Marvel Comics and Magic the Gathering. So, making this like the commander of a heroes deck would be really good. You get a lot of value off playing your heroes. Card and a treasure token, that's broken already, even though it is 5 mana. So, yeah. And his flavor text reads, "We're just cogs in a great machine, and we all have our parts to play." He's a 1/2 to just represent that he's a normal guy, and since it is like a pretty broken effect, I thought to make it like a weak, because he's just a regular human. To make it a weaker commander, like physically, would be probably a decent way to balance it out a little bit. All right. Up next, we have Frenchie and the Female, legendary creature human. He is a 2 generic, 1 blue and a black, and he has Death Touch, or they have Death Touch and First Strike. The Death Touch and First Strike is just representing Frenchie and Kimiko respectively. Kimiko has a First Strike. She's like a brawler, not a brawler. She's like a almost like an inhuman, like weird, like monster type of girl. Like she's fast. She scratches people. She's like, I think she's supposed to be like the representation of X-22 or something in the boys, like the Wolverine's daughter, whatever. And Frenchie gets Death Touch because of the virus that he helped make. So he has Death Touch. Whenever Frenchie and the Female attack, target creature loses all abilities until end of turn. This is supposed to represent, like, at the end of the boys, Kimiko gets the ability to erase superpowers from heroes. So whenever she attacks, you have to erase the superpowers and or abilities of one target creature, So, yeah. And on your end step, if you control 3 or more tapped artifacts, this is supposed to represent like the beakers and the science stuff that Frenchie used to create the virus. If you control 3 or more tapped artifacts, remove all counters from target creature you don't control. So this is basically supposed to be like somewhat of a counter to Homelander. This is kind of supposed to represent the virus, like the tapped artifacts, and it removes like the counters. That could be also like the buffs, you know what I'm saying, on a hero. So, but only a hero you don't control, so it's not too broken. Because if you do that, if you remove all the counters on like a creature you do control, like if you could find plenty of easy ways to break that, plenty. So it has to be one you don't control. So that last ability might not be useful all the time, but the first one definitely is. And Death Touch plus First Strike is always like a good combination. And his flavor text reads Tiame, I don't know, some French stuff from the first. This is Frenchie's last words when he and Kimiko die in the comics. And I think he says it in the boys show, but I don't know, I wouldn't know. Mother's Milk, a little bit more of a simple commander. He is for 4 generic, 2 green, legendary creature, human. It is basically just Mother Milk from the comics. I didn't really know how to build Mother's Milk from the show, since he just kind of uses guns and stuff and weapons. And he is pretty buff though, still. At least for the first couple seasons, until he like slims down out of nowhere. In the comics, drinking his mother's milk, which is infused with Compound V, it makes him stronger. It makes him a soup. So I kind of made some kind of equivalency through food tokens. So I kind of made some kind of equivalency through food tokens. So sacrifice a food, Mother's Milk gets +2/+2 trample and indestructible until end of turn. So he gets buffed by drinking his mother's milk, essentially. So yeah, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Definitely a good payoff for a food deck. If you want this to be your commander, that's fine too. Probably a better one is the Cabbage Merchant to create the foods in the first place. Just put this in the 99 of that. Or, I don't know, some other random food archetype deck. I don't know. His flavor text reads, "No, my mother actually named me Mother's Milk." "Did she?" said Huey. Huey couldn't tell that he was being sarcastic. So yeah. Up next we have the 7 for 7 black. Why did I put it land creature? Oh, I meant to put legendary creature, not land creature. Alright, well, legendary creature, human hero. The 7 have flying, double strike, and haste. This is supposed to represent the incident in the comics, actually, not the incident in the show, which is Flight 37. Now, the incident in the comics basically goes down the same as the incident in the show. So, when the 7 enter the battlefield, sacrifice each other creature you control and destroy target artifact with flying. Sacrificing each other creature you control is representing the fact that they let all the people on the planes die, and destroying target artifact with flying represents the way that they accidentally destroyed the freaking plane because they're idiots and they're incompetent. So in the show, Homelander and Maeve go and save Flight 37, but Homelander accidentally sabotages the flight with his heat vision, and the whole plane goes down and they have to leave all the civilians to die. In the comics, the same sort of thing happens, except the whole 7 goes, and one of the 7 actually die. I think it's the super fast dude. He dies. The same thing kind of happens. They just go up the plane, they kill the terrorists, but then they accidentally fuck up the plane through their incompetence. So yeah. And there's the battlefield. Sacrifice each creature you control. All these creatures die, and you get to destroy an artifact with flying. Probably won't do anything. I can't really think of any artifacts with flying except like Ornithopter or something. Or if you give like you manage to give a flying counter on your artifact commander, like who knows, whatever. I mean, that second bit's only supposed to be flavorful. These are top-down cards. They're supposed to be flavor first. That's always my policy in making these. So up next we have Huey Campbell for 2 generic and 2 white, legendary creature, human. When Huey enters the battlefield or deals combat damage, each player may draw a card. So basically just some group hug there. Supposed to represent Huey keeping the boys together, trying to keep Homelander on the team, trying to keep everyone on the team. Did I say Homelander? I meant trying to keep Billy on the team. And for 2 white, Huey phases out. This is just to represent Huey's like teleportation ability that he had in season 3, I think it was. Yeah, he could teleport. So he phases out and he enters the battlefield. Each player can draw a card. It's a nice little group hug commander, even though it is mono white, and I hate mono white. But yeah, some good card draw in mono white. And his flavor text reads, "I need to get a different job. He's a 2/2. But your opponents are going to want to keep him alive because he does some interesting things, and his phase out thing helps him to stay alive anyway." So up next we have Black Noir for 5 black, mono black pips. Legendary creature, human hero. You may have Black Noir enter the battlefield as a copy of any legendary creature on the battlefield, except its name is Black Noir. So you can use this to copy your own legendary creatures, like copy Homelander, or copy your opponents, or whatever. His flavor text reads, "Nothing." That's supposed to represent like his his show counterpart, and most of his comics counterpart. In the comics, he ends up talking, but in the show, Black Noir, or the original Black Noir, never actually talks. He ends up just getting killed by the Homelander before saying a word. Yeah, but this is supposed to represent that in the comics, Black Noir ended up being a clone of Homelander the whole time, and he was doing crazy, debaucherous things and taking pictures of them, just to make it seem like Homelander was doing it, so he can drive Homelander crazy and make everyone like trust Homelander a lot less because he's doing these things. So technically, Homelander was always I don't want to say good person, but he was never like evil. This kind of just drove him to doing that. I think I am LARPing the comics a little bit. Honestly, I did read the comics like a long time ago. I did read them, but I mostly forgot them. So I forgot if Homelander was originally like nice and like kind, and then like this drove him to be mean, or if he was just like always slightly of like a bit of an asshole, and this kind of just pushed him over the edge. I don't remember. But anyway, we're gonna do Starlight next. So Starlight, a 3 generic, 2 white pips, legendary creature, human hero with lifelink. Whenever Starlight attacks, it and target creature gains flying until end of turn. It's supposed to represent Starlight's flying with like Huey and stuff like that, and the other people. I think she does this. Either it was like the beginning of season 5, or I'm just making that up. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Whenever Starlight is tapped, artifacts lose all abilities until she is untapped. This is just supposed to represent like her like weird technology thing. Like she drains power from technology. She causes lights to flicker and stuff like that. So she turns off all your artifacts, include like she turns off yours. She turns off your opponents. Everyone's artifacts are turned off as long as she's tapped. So, i.e., like attacking, you know. But just tapped. Period. So you could actually tap her in response to something. If you have like a way to tap your creatures and turn off all artifacts if that's relevant at the time. Otherwise, she's a decent blocker. She has flying when she attacks. Lifelink is always nice. Get some little bit of return on your attacks. And let's just move on to Soldier Boy, bro. Soldier Boy, I'm in it. Whoa. Okay, so he's a 4 generic, 1 white and 1 black legendary creature human soldier hero. He has Vigilance, Double Strike, and Ward 2. Ward 2 is supposed to represent his shield. I was originally going to put like a shield counter on Soldier Boy, but I was like, no. I just decided not to do it. I don't know why. I should smile more. Does it look better than me not smiling? Probably. Anyway, for 2 red, target creature loses all abilities. And this is supposed to represent his little chest blast thing, where he gets all those creatures to... Or no, he gets he fires at like a soup, and they lose their powers forever, pretty much. He fired it at what was his name? Like Bombsight? Yeah, Bombsight in season 5, so that he wouldn't have to be immortal anymore, and so we could just go crack that old Asian lady. His flavor text reads, Fab5 Ready told me everybody's fly. DJ spinning, I said my. And he is a 4/3. And that's gonna do it for this episode. It's a little bit of a shorter episode. I mean, these usually go like 30 minutes, 30, maybe 20. But this time, not so much. Hoping to get remonetized after like so long. It's been over a year since I made any sort of thing resembling a profit from this YouTube account. I'm really trying my best. I'm trying to get a job. I had a job for a little bit. But, you know, summer's hard. The economy's bad. Trump fucked us. So... leave a like, comment, subscribe, do something, help me out a little bit. And I can make more of these, you know, I can make them more frequently if I'm actually seeing a return on them. I mean, I'm gonna try anyway, because I actually genuinely do enjoy making magic cards. I'm gonna try and talk about other things. I was thinking about doing like Reddit stories, maybe, something like that. Something that, like, I don't know, kids will watch. I'll try and make it more kid-friendly, reduce the cursing, you know, maybe no cursing at all, honestly. Maybe talk about Jesus a little bit too. That would be kind of nice to get them to read the Bible on YouTube and people actually like watching that. I don't know if they would, but I'd hope so. At least it'd like make me feel more of like a better Christian, right? Anyway, that's just gonna do it for this video. I made it like kind of randomly out of nowhere, just because I wanted to, like, the boys ended, I wanted to cash in on like the hype while it's here before it just goes away and the boys becomes niche. Ugh. Once again, it was a little bit niche when it first came out, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's gonna do it. I'm thinking about maybe doing like a set for Invincible. That could be cool. Yeah, maybe I'll do that next. Or anything that someone suggests in the comments. I'll prioritize the comments, any of your suggestions. If I know the IP, of course. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, and stay scheming or keep dreaming. Thanks for watching.
But if you do marry, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marries, she is not sinned. But those who marry will face many troubles in this life. And I want to spare you this. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 28. Dang, he knew, bro. He really knew. Like, yeah. I've seen plenty of terrible marriages, bro. So, yep. Bro knew. Still want to get married, though. But, dang. They knew, even back then.